New tonight at 10, it's an almost forgotten story of an enslaved man.
A man who became a legal pioneer, civic leader, and community activist in KCK. It's also the story of an Olathe woman who's now sharing about the grandfather she never met.
You may want to have a seat to watch this story. It's well worth your time. KSHB 41 News reporter Megan Abundis and our I-team shows us how he's still inspiring people today.
78-year-old Frances Bradley Robinson journeyed to the place.
In 1 mile, turn right onto Santa Fe Trail,
where her grandfather's story began.
How he often spoke about going to the Missouri River.
It's a piece of history she's never seen.
Wow.
The vanished town of Cambridge, Missouri, where Mrs. Robinson's grandfather was born in 1862, amid the Civil War, at a time when Missourians recorded the number of enslaved people. Enslaved like her great-grandparents and their son. Isaac Franklin Bradley Sr.
It just means so much to be here, finally. Oh my goodness. It's just breathing it all in and knowing that I'm in the midst of maybe what I would consider history.
A piece of history saved by the man who now owns the 28 acres where the town once stood and has made sure isn't lost to time.
I thought it ought to be marked somehow, and there was no marking. And when I would talk about Cambridge, people didn't know where it was. So I thought, well, there's no excuse for that.
Stan Hanna had never heard of Mrs. Robinson's grandfather, but is humbled to now have a connection to his legacy.
You never really own the land. You're just a caretaker. And that's true.
What's also true? Isaac Bradley's refusal to let his enslaved history define his future.
He never considered himself to be a victim of being enslaved. I think he always had the attitude that he was, that he had determination to just learn and achieve and do better.
And do better he did. With less than 18 months of education, Isaac Bradley graduated from what is now Lincoln University. He made history in 1887 when he became the first black man to graduate from the University of Kansas's law school. He later became the first elected black judge in Kansas City, Kansas.
It's not about just dwelling on or being angry. It's about achieving.
Judge Bradley also helped found the historic Douglas Hospital, the first hospital for people of color in KCK. A businessman, an author, a civil rights advocate. He was an original member of the Niagara movement, which predated the NAACP. Being in Cambridge,
I think there's something about faith.
A granddaughter's renewed sense of pride.
Mrs. Robinson, we are on Main Street right now. The town where your grandfather was raised in. I mean, what's going through your mind?
I'm just very happy to be here and to be on the actual ground that he walked and to see the land where the homes, where the community was that he was raised.
Yeah.
And it's just awe-inspiring. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless almost.
What does that connection feel like?
Well, it's a connection to the past that not only I, but others have had, and yet it's a testament to the fact that someone can come up from something like this and achieve so much.
Many people don't have that kind of determination like your grandfather did, though.
Right, and he had determination to not only was he the first in whatever he did, but he wanted to make sure that others followed him.
I think for someone to take time out of their day and look back and remember history, how important does that feel to you?
If we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it, and it gives us a foundation for which to advance.
I'm just really proud of the fact that a young man who was born under those circumstances, and slavery was a definite big circumstance. He didn't have the same opportunities as other people, yet he made himself what he did.
Before she left, a keepsake of soil, a reminder of her past, with hope that it will plant the seeds of inspiration for a new generation.
If we're going to improve history, we would improve it by including the accomplishments of African Americans rather than just, oh, it was so terrible. Yes, it was. It was not easy. But in spite of it not being easy, African Americans and many people have been able to accomplish a great deal.
In Cambridge, I'm Megan Abundis, KSHB 41 News.